Morning everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be part 2 from the video that I made last week. That was where I was showing people how to cast and make their own lead weights with an eye in the end and a swivel on there. So today I'm going to start this video off by showing you the components that I've got and just purchased to actually make the inline leads. Now I'm doing this slightly differently. I'm going to start off inside and then I'll take you outside and then show you all the process and everything set up, but I just wanted to show you what you actually get for your money. So I've actually bought this off of the bay, okay, and I bought this mold and the inserts, and the eBay member are called Davies Fishing Tackle, and their reference number, the eBay reference number, is 315771. So what I've actually purchased is a Dexter 3-in-1 inline dumpy lead flat pair. They've got so many different variations on the eBay page that you need to go and have a look yourself. But the one I opted for were the 60, 80 and 90 grams inline lead weights. So they equate to, the 60 gram is 2.11 ounce, the 80 gram is 2.82 ounces, and the 90 grams is 3.17 ounce leads. I can't envisage myself using much more than 3 ounces, so for me they will suffice. If you, however, were using heavier leads, they have got different molds that would incorporate the heavier leads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to let you have a quick look at the mold and what came with it, and then we'll go outside and then I'll start making some leads. But all in all, I'm very impressed with Davies Fishing Tackle. I talked to a lovely guy called Scott, more than helpful, so friendly, so I would definitely recommend them, and I'm one of those people that recommend people by word of mouth. So the mold itself is very well made. It's got a good set of instructions, and I'll switch you around now and we can have a quick look at it. So now, as you can see before me, I have the two halves of the mold and the insert tool. So these molds are very well made. They've got some printing on the back saying your mold. Inside it actually shows you the weight of each lead, so that will be cast into the lead. They are very well finished off. Some of the molds tend to be a little bit ropey on the outsides where the edges aren't very clean, but this one has been very well made. You have two locating dowels and pins here, and what you've also got is this steel rod with a hole in the end, and this is stepped, and what you do is actually you put that into the mold like so. I'm trying to do this one-handed, and then close the mold up, and then obviously you've got your pouring hole on each of the different size leads. So you can only make one lead at a time, which is fine, but that's good. You need the step pin in there, and obviously when you've cast the lead you would then remove the pin, and then you'll have your hoe through the center of the lead. So in addition to the mold and the pin, you get a very comprehensive instruction sheet, which is also very good. It's well printed out, and also they supply these plastic inserts that actually come with the lead. So after you've molded the lead, you can pop the plastic inserts through, thread your line through it, put your rig tube on there, and away you go. So all in all, I am very impressed with this mold at the moment. We'll see how it works with when I actually make some leads. The only thing I possibly could comment on is maybe they could also put like a slight bar in this hole here. You've got a hole in the end of there, just a small rod in there to help you pull it out but it's not a biggie. If you've got a small piece of metal or nail, you could use that. But all in all, very, very well made. So again, they are called Davies fishing tackle on the bay. And I'll see you in a minute when we go outside and start casting some leads. Okay guys, so we're back outside now. So what I've done, first of all, hopefully I get this to focus. I've put a screw in the end of there, so that just allows me to remove that easy. So whenever you're making lead weights, safety is paramount, okay? You're dealing with molten lead, and a disclaimer, I am not responsible for your safety, so make sure you are safe at all times. Safety glasses, heat resistant leather gloves. I've got a bucket of water on the floor there, and I'll show you all the tools that I'm going to be using to make the leads. So you need a strong saucepan or utensil to melt the lead down in. You need a ladle so that you can actually pour the lead when it's molten, scoop it out, pour it into the mould, and I shall spin you round. You need a utensil or a pot to scoop off all the dirty bits of lead, and I'm not sure whether it's called slag or it's all the impurities off the top of the lead when it's molten. I use a Coleman stove that I've had for years and years and years, runs on petrol or Coleman fuel, pressurized stove. If you haven't got that, you can use camping stove, camping gas, whatever. Solid base to work from at a good height. You don't want to be bending over. You certainly don't want to be peering over into a saucepan full of molten lead. A good quality vise so that you can clamp your mould to, and a selection of pliers to actually be able to remove the leads from the mould when they've cooled down. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the tripod. I'm going to get everything fired up, and then we'll come back and show you the process. So I've got the stove lit now. Obviously it goes without saying that you want to do this in a well ventilated space. You can wear a mask if you so wish. Right, so I'm going to put the saucepan on there, making sure it's carefully balanced, and then what I'm going to do while I wait for the lead to actually melt, you need to preheat the moulds. Okay, so you need to dry any moisture out of the moulds before you actually pour any molten lead into them, because moisture and molten lead, not a good pattern. You have to be so careful around this. You can actually, the lead will spit back if you drop wet. So I need to preheat the moulds while the lead is melting. So I'm just going to use a butane lighter and just gently heat these up. And all you're doing is just applying just heat over these just to dry out any moisture that is in the mould. You'll know if the mould's not hot enough, because when you cast your first weight, it probably won't cast properly. So we'll see how we get on with this one today. But I'm just fanning this over there, just drying out any moisture that may be inherent in the aluminium mould. And then the lead in the saucepan is slowly melting. It takes a little while to do this. Once you've cast a few leads in the moulds, obviously they warm up anyway. This is why you need your heat proof gloves. So you are dealing with molten metal. You have to be safe at all times. Obviously you don't want to get these so hot that they melt because they are aluminium, and you don't really want that to happen. So I'm going to call that enough there. They look as though they're drying out. Hopefully from this shot you can see that the lead is now starting to become molten. And the tip when you're making leads is to always use more in the pan than you think you're going to need, because there's nothing worse than starting off and then having to stop to put more lead in there. So I've put some offcuts of lead in there. I'm just waiting for that to melt down now. That won't take very long at all. I can see it as I'm talking to you. You can see it dropping into the pan itself. And what I've done here is my pot for my waste material off the top I put close to it, so then I can come in with a spoon and literally just scoop it off, and I'll show you that. So make sure you wear your glove. So that lead's looking a good colour now. So I'm just going to leave that a little bit longer and then we'll come back. I'm going to heat the mould up again a little bit more. I've clamped it in the vise. I've got the bar in there, so I'll come back in a minute. Okay, so as you can see now, the lead is molten there, and all I'm doing is running the spoon over the top. I'm picking up all of this material that you can see there and dumping it in there. And so you've got to be very careful with this. Make sure you wear your gloves and you take off all of the impurities on the top of the lead until you're left with lovely molten lead. Okay, I now know that that's looking good. We've got getting a lot of the material off there. I'm going to turn the heat down slightly on. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it going now. I preheated the mould again, so wearing both of my gloves, getting my ladle, I'm scooping an amount out from there, and I'm just going to pour it into the mould like so until we get to that stage there. Okay, you can pop your on there, so give that a few seconds for that to go off. As you can see, I'm wearing both of my gloves, so I've had to position it in the vise so that the bar at the end doesn't fall out, and all I'm going to do is take it out like so, pull this apart, and there is our first mould with the hole straight the way through it. So using your pliers of choice, take the first lead, and you can see it's cast with its numbers there. Get it right the way up. Hold on a minute. There we go, and it should say on there, you should be able to see it on there if I get it right. 60 grams. So that's your first lead. You will need a pair of pliers to actually trim that off. So I'm going to go and get those now. I'll just put the lead down there and I'll be right back, guys. So again, with your gloves on, I used some heavy duty pliers. Weha pliers, very good pliers. So what I do is I just literally trim off the excess piece like that. Get the ladle, pop the ladle, and then you can pop it straight back in. And there is our first lead. So there's a little bit of flashing around the edge, but you can just clean that up with a file, and then you can ready to go. So what I do now is I will just, that one is fine, so I'm just going to put that one there. I put the bar back in here like so, put the mould back together again, and what you'll have to do, I've found out that If you just turn this up like so, that hasn't done it this time, this has a tendency to actually just drop out. So all you need to do is I just place it in the vise so that it's against the base of the vise, so it can't go anywhere. Take a fair bit of lead, and when you pour this, just do it consistently and take your time, but don't take too long, because the lead actually will cool in the... So I know that that's gone off now, so I can take this one apart. Again, this is why you need your gloves. So there's the finished lead. Take that straight out the mould, and you can see it's there. So all we do is hold that, or use your pliers if you wish. These are very good quality leather gloves, so they are heat resistant. So pop that one there. Pliers or your cutters, cut it as near to the edge of the lead, like so. I'm just going to put that one down there, pop that back in there, and pop it back in to the cauldron. So here you see the finished items. As you can see, they all come with the inscribed weight in there, which is really handy if you want a particular weight of lead. And all we need to do is clean those flashing off, and then we can insert the plastic pieces, thread your line through, put on your sleeve, and away you go. So what we're doing now, guys, is basically repeating the process. You will periodically need to skim the top of the lead to get rid of all this all the impurities. Okay, so just use an old spoon, teaspoon, whatever. So I'm going to make one more. I've made 4 at the moment, so I'm going to do 5 I should say. I'm going to do another one, another 60 gram one, and then we'll move on to the 80 gram and then 90 gram. Okay, I'm not going to film all of that. There we go. So we let it cool, but you definitely need to rest this piece here on the bed of the vise, and with in my case a screw or a nail or whatever, you need something to give you a little bit of leverage to actually pull this pin out of the lead, because obviously it's getting hot and it's expanding, so it's getting quite tight. So there we go. So that's worth doing. And there's number 5. So that's it, guys. There's the leads made. So we've got 5 at 60 gram, 5 at 80 grams, and 5 at 90 grams. All in all, very well impressed with the mould. Like I say, I will be emailing them back and actually saying that, you know, put a bar in there, or include a bar in it, in this rod here. But to be honest, a small screw, a nail is fine. Very impressed with the quality of the mould, very impressed with the quality of the weights. Yes, it's taken me a little time to do this, and you know, people will say, well, just go and buy the leads ready-made. Fine, if you want to do that. If we're all trying to save a few pennies in these days and you've got the equipment, why not have a go making your own leads? So in the next video, guys, what I'll be doing is actually coating the leads with some powder. So you keep the leads warm, you dip them in the powder sticks to the warm leads. You then very gently blow a flame over the powder and that melts it, and then that provides a barrier for the lead so that it blends in with the lake bed. So that's the next video coming up. So if you want to follow that, make sure to like, subscribe, press the bell icon, and we'll see you soon, guys. So thank you for watching, guys. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I am in the process of setting up my branding for my new YouTube channel. called The Casual Angler, and it's specifically for people who love fishing, whether you're an experienced angler or you're just starting out on your angling career. It's going to be footage of myself fishing. My wife will be coming along on some occasions. It will be some carp fishing, but it will be coarse fishing in general. So hopefully you'll get some progress soon on that, and as soon as I've done the branding and I've got everything looking how I want it to look, I will put links out, and I'd like offer you to come along and like and subscribe. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video.